Hi there. If you have been struggling with any wrist pain or discomfort, and maybe you've noticed that your wrists are not that strong or there's some tendency to have some weakness, there could be a couple things that are going on, but one of the areas that is very common for our modern life is repetitive movements. And with repetitive movements, we kind of weaken that area because we're moving in that direction constantly over and over with kind of no break. And that can happen with playing guitar. It can happen with typing and texting, being on the computer. It really depends on the position that you have your wrist in constantly with no break. So I just want you to keep that in mind, that if you're doing that, just be more mindful so that we can take care of it. So for this training, you're gonna need a few props. And I do recommend being on the floor on a yoga mat or something like this, just so that you can maneuver with all the props. So you're gonna need 2 yoga blocks, and I do recommend the yoga blocks. And I have a 3-pound weight. If you don't have a 3-pound weight, you can also use some canned food, but not the big size, just the regular, I don't even know what the ounces are. So even if you don't have that, you can do this without anything, but you will need the blocks. So before we get started, I want to just show you the movements that our wrist makes. So for example, from this position, this is prone, and this is supination. And then we have, in supination, we have flexion, and then in prone, we have extension. Now I'm going to turn onto the side of the forearm, and then we have radial deviation, where the thumb comes up, and then ulnar deviation, where the thumb goes down. Okay, so the wrist will move in all those directions. So I just want you to pay attention to that, because you probably do it and don't even realize. So before we get started, I just want to let you know that I am Janelle Ross, and I am here to help you with your mobility, flexibility, and strength, so that you can do all the things that you love and more right now into long term in life. So let's get started. I'm going to move the props to the side. And for the first part, we're just going to be seated just to warm up the wrists. So you can sit in a chair for this first part, but just make sure you're sitting up tall. Always think about good body mechanics. Okay, so the way that you can control your forearms from just moving all over the place is to either lock them into your elbows into your ribs, or you can hold on and do single arm at a time, single wrist. But for time's sake, we're gonna do both. So lock the elbows into your ribs and have your knuckles face forward so that you're not turning, you're not supinating your forearms. So sitting up tall, knuckles facing forward, and just start to draw a concentrated circle, smooth, round circle, and just notice how it feels to draw that circle. You're going slow, you're thinking about the axis of movement, you're paying attention to the circles and noticing if there's already a discrepancy from one side to the other. Remember, there's no judgment. We just want to be really observant to our body and reverse the circle. So slow and concentrated circles. Okay, and now slowly release and just shake it out and let the fingers flop a little bit to create some energy. I really want your wrist to be fully warmed up as we progress, we go into deeper progressions. Okay, so now you can spend some more time on this, but for this training, we're not gonna spend a lot of time, but it is one of the best tools you can use for strengthening. And I've mentioned this many times before, that's what I'm getting at. So you're gonna bend the elbows and keep them close to your body. You can, once you get used to it, you can move your arms around. And all you're gonna do is start with the fist, knuckles up, and you're just gonna open and close. And we'll do this for a few rounds, just so you can see what it's like. But the longer you do this, the more productive it is. And it gets harder very, very quickly. So you're just opening and closing and really feeling the fingers flicking out. And just staying with your breath. Feel the fingers flicking out, and you can pick up the pace a little bit, and you might start to feel some sensation, some heating sensation going down your forearm. Keep opening and closing. Opening and closing. And the great thing about this is that you don't need any equipment, and you can just do this and time it. And the longer you do it, the more you're going to get the benefit. Keep opening and closing. Good. And it starts to get harder. You might feel that heat. Okay. And now shake it out again. And I'm going to show you this stretch that we're going to play with on and off. So interlace the fingers, and you want to press down and try and pull the fingers apart. This is just part of the warm-up. But I also want you to feel a stretch a little bit after that work. So make sure the fingers don't lift off. So press down, pull apart, and I'm going to draw the left arm up. And you're just going to kind of push, try and pull the fingers apart, and wave. You want to feel a stretch on the dorsal side. And you're not moving your shoulders, your elbows, you're just moving the wrists. So really think about a wave, an ocean wave. You're just pushing and pulling, really feeling the fingers stretch, but also the underside of your palms and a little bit into your forearms. And now reverse, press down, and wave through. And just feeling, it feels good on the fingers to stretch it out as well. All right, now you can release and shake it out. We're gonna do a few more. Come into quadruped, spread the fingers, and just start to circle around while you're weight bearing to see what that feels like, especially if your wrists are bothering you this very moment. Just feel the weight distributing on each part of the wrist and the fingers, spreading the fingers wide and reversing the circles. Try to keep a flat back just so you're not compensating the body in any way. All right, now come back to center. You can do this next pose either single arm or double arm, and you can also not do it. I can show you another one. So you can take the back of the palm down, spread the fingers. Now what I tend to see in this position is that the arm will bend out and the shoulder comes forward, and it's literally impossible to do. So if that's your case, don't force it. You can play with it, but I would just try something else and work your way to that as you get more flexibility and mobility in your wrist and forearm. What you can do is come into a kneeling position, and you can place the back of the palms down and draw the elbows toward the floor to get the dorsal stretch. So this is one that you can do. You can also do this standing or seated. It doesn't matter the position, as long as you're not using your upper traps, okay? So you just want to release that and then spread the fingers, elbows toward the floor. So this is one, and while you're doing that, I'm going to just show you for both. Spreading the fingers, straight arms, and letting the elbows go out a little bit so not hyperextended, and then just shifting back. And it's barely a move. And you can feel it a lot. So just take your time being in this position, shifting back, breathing into the stretch. Keeping the pinky finger and thumb spreading apart. Okay, and then slowly release, and you can do one at a time, and just let it slowly shake out, flop it out. And now we're gonna get the wrist and forearm flexors. So you're gonna take your fingers, and you can, actually it's better to do the same time, because then you're kind of having to balance more. Spreading the fingers wide, straight arms, and just slowly shifting your butt back and breathing into that stretch all through here. And you don't really go that far to stretch. You can feel it quite quickly in this position. Okay, and then slowly release. And now what I like to do for a strength aspect in quadruped, and this is a little advanced, so if you're not there, don't worry about it, but I always invite you to try hard things because you do them throughout your life, at any point in your life, and you don't know until you try. So you want to think about your fingers tented, and they're really strong. They're like the structure of the house, those beams that hold the foundation of the house up. That's what you want to think about. So you can think about like a bridge, the structure of a bridge, but you just want to have this position with the fingers spreading wide. If you have nails, it might be a little challenging, but I've seen fascinating things with fingernails. Okay, so from here, shift your weight forward, and your fingertips will turn white. Stay strong, and then just hover the knees and hold. Keep the shoulders protracted, and just work on really working those fingers, holding the position, and lowering down and shaking it out. And you can just do that a few times. You don't have to do it for very long because you can feel it quite quickly. Okay, now we're going to grab the blocks. We're going to do the weight in a little bit, but first we're going to do without any weight. And here's the thing, there are many different videos and trainings that you can do that show a hammer, that show, there's also a rod. There's different tools that you can use or objects you can use, and they are heavier. And this is more, I would say, basic. And I say with caution because if you have an injury or if you feel the weakness in your wrist going into your forearm, you want to start very conservative because otherwise that weight is going to get heavy because you're working on repetitions, and it's actually going to exacerbate the discomfort, the pain, or the injury that you already have. So you want to kind of take that ego out of it because we all have an ego. And you really just want to just start at the foundation, start at the beginning, and just allow yourself to progress. So the first part we're going to do is without any weight. So actually you want the blocks on the highest level. Okay, so now in this position, palm is on the forearm, make a fist, and then from this position, you're just going to draw the knuckles toward your arm and then back to neutral, not down, just to neutral. And you're just going to do that a few rounds, and just notice if your forearm starts to move, you're just trying to keep it in place. So lifting up, and you can also do this on a table, but we were doing quadruped as well. So you just want to make sure your forearm is rigid so that you can focus on the extension, and you do want space below for the other parts as well. Come back to neutral. And you want to go about 5 to 10 reps, 3 times, maybe less if you're feeling a lot and it feels too much. So this is without any weight. And we'll do one more. All right, now supinate, palm on the forearm, and the palm and the forearm are facing up. I'm still making a fist, just holding down, and I do have my other arm, my elbow on the block, just for extra support. Making that fist, and then from this position, you're going to go into flexion. And you can actually see how much the muscles of the forearm are working. Keeping a fist, and you're not trying to squeeze with the fist, you're just keeping a fist. And I'm just lightly pressing down. Okay, now I'm going to turn onto the side of my forearm. The thumb side is pointing up, so this is the side of the radius. So the thumb side is up. Just placing the palm for support, the opposite palm, and all you're going to do is draw the thumb toward the arm and back to neutral. And everybody will have a different range of motion. and you're not trying to force anything, but you just want to work on the repetitions, going slow and concentrated. Okay, and now for the ulnar side, we're going to do differently so you can get that full range of motion. So we're going to be kneeling a little bit. And from this position, just bring your arm down by your side. Make a fist. Keep the rest of the body tight. And all you're going to do is take the pinky side toward the forearm. And just engaging and just feeling that move. The arm stays straight. And go for a few more. And just see how it feels to go in each direction with the wrist. Okay, and release, and you can shake it out. Okay, now I'm going to show you that again. We're going to do it again, but this time with the weight. And it will be very interesting for you to see for yourself the difference. This is only 3 pounds, and it does get heavier quite quickly. So that's why you could start with something even lighter than this. But you can even start like we just did without any prop. Okay, so again, gonna come into prone position, and from here, keep the neutral position and then slowly lift up, coming back to neutral. So neutral to extension. And I'm not doing anything different than we did before without the weight, just lifting. And notice if your wrist starts to deviate in any direction, if it starts to go in or out, or if the forearm starts to turn up, then don't use the weight. And we'll do one more. Okay, now let's go to supination, palm on the forearm. And again, don't start from this position, start in this neutral position. And what you're gonna do is again, go into flexion. And just staying with your breath, working on the controlled movement, taking care of the wrist joint. You're just in a neutral position, going into flexion. And we'll do one more in this position. Okay, now I'm gonna take the weight. I'm gonna bring the bottom to my thumbs, to my pinky side. So the thumb is up, placing the palm, and now slowly drawing the top part of the weight toward my arm and just keeping the support of my opposite palm. Slow, controlled movements, and sometimes you really just have to just stay with your breath, to not rush through it. Don't be distracted by any TV or anything, because you really want to do this mindfully. Now, to get the ulnar side, we're going to do that again. We're going to kneel. And now I'm going to take it to the thumb side. And so the end is longer, kneeling tall. And all you're going to do is again, bring it up and back to neutral. So you're just trying to work on a controlled, slow, controlled movement. And it might feel a little bit different. You can even do this in front of the mirror so you don't go like this, because you want to come back to neutral position so you are working the ulnar side. Okay, now you can release the weight and we can move the blocks. And then just shake them out again. All right, now the last thing that actually will feel good, especially if someone does it for you, you're gonna take and give yourself a self-forearm massage. So you're gonna just squeeze, and you can move the fingers, you can rotate a little bit as you squeeze, getting into the forearm, and going in, move the watch, going into the wrist joint. You can go into the fingers, the palm and the fingers, squeezing. Like I said, it feels really awesome when someone else does this to you. And just make sure you do both sides equally. So you can do, and just be creative. Your body knows, and you just have to pay attention. So squeezing, putting pressure, using the thumbs, and you're not trying to go hard or strong. You're just trying, to loosen anything up, to give it some TLC that it probably needs, because we're in modern society and we're putting all these demands on our body in maybe sometimes not the best ways. Okay? And then shake it out and really let the fingers flop so you can feel all that energy releasing all of what you just did. Okay, so now just a recap is that you can do just one set. You can do the quadruped, you can do the quadruped exercises, you can do with the block without any weight. And maybe that's where you need to start. I really think about this practice as being humble and giving yourself slow and concentrated progression so that you don't create more problems and injury from where you started. And then just start to progress from there and see what happens, see how it goes. You just want to really take care of yourself. Okay. So I hope you found this helpful, and you can do this as often as you need. We do want to take care of our fingers, our palms, our forearms, really take care of that so that we can stay strong going later into life, because we do repetitive movements throughout our day. And if you have a specific activity or hobby that you do, that's going to definitely come up, and it will limit, like if you play guitar, it's going to limit your ability to play guitar or tennis or golf or typing, whatever it is. Okay, so please don't forget to give this a like. You can comment, you can share this. I'd be so grateful. I am Janelle DeRoss, and I am here to help you with your mobility, flexibility, and strength so you can do awesome things that you love right now and into later years. Now, lastly, if you want to go deeper and you're not sure where to start, you can comment number 1. You can comment number 1, and you can just put the number 1 in the comments, and I will reach out to you if we are a good candidate to work together for one-on-one sessions. I have a few spaces in my calendar available, and this is just if you're serious about taking control of your health and your fitness and you want to work more together. All right, I am here every Thursday, and I will see you next week.